So geostationary orbits are 36,000 kilometers away. It's enough to take a photograph of the Earth. For instance, Himawari.
So the sun ones, let's get into that. There are satellites out there that are able to leverage or track the motion of the sun.
Yeah, they basically what they do is they stay with it. They stay on the sunny side of the Earth, if you want me to put it in lay terms.
Okay, I kind of gave you a trick question there. So the sun, is not revolving in your model, right?
No, I know that you did. Okay. You need to wake up a lot earlier.
Okay, so anyway, those ones I don't really debate because those are not model dependent in my opinion. But
of course,
let's talk about these geosynchronous ones. So there are devices up there that you believe once they reach a certain point, gravity and all these orbital mechanics just allow it to preserve its route. That's your position?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's basically the balance between gravity and centrifugal force, which allows the satellite to remain exactly where it is. So what's important is the distance. So Kepler came up with this, by the way, r cubed over t squared. So the cube of the distance, of the radial distance from the Earth to the satellite, divided by the square of the time that it takes for it to go round, is a well-known proportion, and that's precisely what's used to determine how far a satellite has to be. So a geostationary satellite will be pretty much at 36,000 kilometers above the equator. It's kind of like a fixed distance, really.
Why don't we see these in images of the Earth?
If you want the satellite to follow the same place on Earth, that is, to turn at the same time that the Earth turns.
Is it too expensive for NASA to put that in those CGI images? How come we don't see those in the images of the Earth? Is it just too much money or not enough funding?
Well, they do have satellites that take images of the Earth all the time.
No, how come those satellites we don't see other things, orbiting?
They point these
orbiting the Earth.
Well, you do. You can see them. You wait for a really dark night and get a long exposure camera, and you'll see the satellites.
So there is a feed of the Earth showing other satellites that are orbiting the Earth, correct? That's your position?
Sure.
Okay, where?
Of course.
Yeah, where can we see that?
Just recently in the UK, I think everybody went to berserk when they saw the constellations going overhead. There you go. If you want to see some satellites, go. You can see them.
No.
You can actually see them with your naked eye.
I'm talking about from the satellite looking down towards Earth.
Yeah. What about it?
Right. You're saying that they have the ability to capture things, right? Like that's how we've gotten.
They have cameras on the board, yeah. They have cameras.
So,
the Himawari, let me finish. The Himawari has 16 channels, I think, all taking different wavelengths. And then these wavelengths, all photographs at different wavelengths, okay? And then these are all combined to make the photograph that you see. So there you go. We're looking at it right there. That's from the Himawari. And of course, the outline is to give you an idea of where the land mass is, because you can't see that from the photograph so far away. So they show you the outline. That's where the land mass is. You wouldn't be able to see it. Now, the wonderful thing about this, it beautifully tracks the sun going around, so you can see where the terminator line is, and then you can go outside, and lo and behold, it's accurate.
Oh my God!
How beautiful is that?
We're winning.
What about looming and refraction? How come there's light not kind of gently making it around the edges? Because that's what you guys are claiming happens, right?
That's a fantastic question, actually.
Yes, correct.
That is a fantastic question. Thank you for asking. So let's think about, let's say, for instance, a model of the you had a ball, for instance, I don't know, a meter across. Okay, so think about a ball a meter across. The atmosphere would probably be about the thickness of a piece of paper.
Okay.
So do you think from the distance of the Himawari that would make any difference at all in terms
By the
of
way, I was Professor Bell. I hope you
refraction?
know I was being sarcastic. I don't believe light curves, right? I hope you. Maybe I think you missed the sarcasm in that. That's a
I
curve.
should. I was toying with the idea. I actually have on my desk over here some apparatus which I was toying with the idea of doing a little experiment and then putting it on you. But perhaps we'll leave that for another day.
Right.
But I can tell you that light does curve. Okay, that we can bend light. I've actually got the apparatus here.
No, we have. I'm really
One
sure
of the
that
few
might
things I
change
took away
direction.
from my lab to bring here, to bring to my house.
Okay, that was a little bit.
Can I just clarify a
that's
point
fine.
there from what you were saying,
Yeah.
man of God? Are you saying
Yeah.
that under no conditions can light curve, or are you saying that it doesn't curve naturally?
The second one. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, we know that it changes direction for sure. Yeah, it can.
Okay, right. I just wanted to clarify that. Okay.
I was kind of joking. I don't think my sense of humor is terrible. I don't think you got it. It's
Yeah,
kind of
we know
not
that.
really
Okay.
relevant. But okay, so my
Sorry,
issue
I
then
hear
is
so many things.
whatever that satellite is that is showing us this. Are you telling me that is in the orbit that is closest to the Earth? Like there are no satellites in between it and the Earth?
Yes, that
See my
satellite is
point?
36,000 kilometers.
Okay, so there's none in between that we should
yeah.
see also revolving around Earth, right? That's my point. How come we don't
That would
see
be pretty
other satellites?
unlikely. That would be pretty unlikely given how this photograph is put together. I thought I explained to you that it was 16 channels taking a photograph at different wavelengths.
So can I just
And then,
clarify something here? So are you saying, mind of God, that in an image like this with a satellite that is in a geosynchronous orbit, we should
Right.
be able to see other satellites that are closer to the Earth?
If there are large groups of them, I don't know what's the cluster. Like, is there
I mean,
10? Is there 50,000? Is there
Well,
100,000?
I mean,
don't
there
know.
is a lot. I watched Starlink go over the other day. That was amazing. But
Yeah.
are you expecting in this image to, for instance, see the ISS going across the Earth or something?
Well, I don't know. I mean, we could see quite a bit of detail on the Earth.
No,
Right?
we can't.
No, you can't.
Well, I mean, I can.
No, you can't.
I just,
Okay.
I was at
You're
the
looking at
optometrist
Australia. Do you know how big our continent is?
But I mean, that's pretty detailed in the contours and then the clouds and all
And
that.
the
I mean,
fucking satellite
that's
is
not
like
exactly a lot of sort
the
of
size of a
uncertainty,
car or a
in what we're
bus
looking at,
max.
you know. And again, you also mentioned earlier there should be an atmosphere, a channel that we're looking through that should induce its own set of distortions. But we see a perfectly concentric blue marble here. We don't see those distortions, which are real when we're dealing with an object being illuminated by the sun. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, so the Earth from this 36,000 kilometers away, which is where this satellite is going to look almost like a perfect sphere. Yes, the Earth is an oblate sphere, but the amount is so small relative to the size of the Earth that from the distance of 36,000 kilometers, it's going to look like a perfect sphere. And as I said to you before, I think you missed the point about the atmosphere just being about the thickness of a piece of paper, if you like, on a large ball. Think about how small how thin that atmosphere is compared to the rest of that ball, that sphere that you're looking at. And it's no wonder that the atmosphere gets to hug it, by the way.
It doesn't matter about the thickness necessarily. I mean, it's still a form of distortion. You know, it's not. I agree. Okay, maybe the thickness would be relevant, but
it's too small. I think your sarcasm was well placed.
All right, so we'll leave it at that then. It's too small. But so that's your position, that it's modeled as a sphere. I thought you were going to talk about, Soundly and the bridge and all that kind of stuff. So when you said Earth modeled as a sphere, you're talking about satellites imaging Earth kind of thing.
I think
That's your
I think one of the things that's misunderstood in the whole flat Earth debate, that's from both sides really. I find, and that is this
yeah.
idea that people talk about models as though they were some sort of truth, and in fact, that's couldn't be further from the truth.
Well, no, it's
Science
not the
doesn't
model that's
actually.
the truth, but the things that it's anchored in. For example, like when I do financial models, we anchor the financial model in historical actuals, right? And then we maybe do
Yeah,
different scenario testing within those, and then we extrapolate to the future. So, but
sure.
the the anchor points are actuals. They're real. So to put that into like a flat Earth, ball Earth geometry debate, those quote actuals are real observations, real numbers, real points that pin down the results. And so that doesn't mean that the interpolation or the extrapolation is correct, but the more points you anchor down, the more likely your interpolations are correct, and then your extrapolations are correct. And so those things cannot be speculation. You know, that's a very,
And
very bad model from the beginning. It's bad.
no,
No
I
one would
did
do that.
explain. I did explain to you that we have three columns. Okay, one of them is
Yeah.
facts,
Yeah.
and I went through the facts with you. The
Yeah.
fact
Those
that
should
you
be the
dismissed
largest.
them.
Yeah, because your facts are actually non-unique speculations. So
No,
yeah,
they're
I have to
facts.
dismiss them.
Look, like I said, you
Yeah.
can say nah as much as you like. That won't change
Yeah.
it. You see, you can go out and gather those facts yourself, or you can prove that I'm wrong. You have that within yourself to do that. Why don't you?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you were to give me 10 or 15 smart people and good funding, we could come up with a good model in 3 to 5 years, you know, and if we did that full time. We wouldn't need a
Sorry.
thousand years.
And and in the meantime, we'll just continue to use our model because it works and we can make predictions from it.
Yeah, dude,
We're
don't be
looking for
bothered. You know, we won't come and bother
with
you or
bated breath.
Rumpus or yeah, we won't come and ask you and Rumpus any questions. We'll do it on our own. That's fine. First person idea is probably
Actually,
life is short.
you know something. I hate to burst your bubble on the shape of the Earth part of it. Sure,
Yeah.
sure, there may be some things on the fringes that you might come up with, but the shape of the Earth, that horse is bolted. Sorry,
Well,
there
no,
are
no,
actually
easy,
satellites.
easy on that kind of a statement. That's too strong, Professor Bell. We know now.
Oh no.
We're at the table to discuss because obstruction can occur bottom up. So that those observations are not physical Earth. That's creating that visual effect. So don't bolt that horse too tight. You know what I'm saying?
No, the trouble is the satellites and the rockets have cameras on them. That's what makes this horse bolted. Okay.
Right. But for some reason, when we see those
Yeah,
kind
you
of
have to
images, we
discount
only
that.
get
You have to find some way to explain that away. You saw that image from from the Himawari. You have to try and explain that away. I'm afraid that horse is bolted. Okay, so
we have to.
other things might change because of your experimentation, but I can tell you
Yeah.
one thing: that won't change because however long you
Owned.
That won't change because however long you
No, no,
rubbed
no.
the board clean and wrote on it.
It was my fault. Well, not my fault. The internet's fault. Hey guys, we should be back. Sorry about that. I had all the power went out for like a second. The lights went flashed and the computer turned off. But we should be back. Mind of God, you with us?
Have a look at the board.
Video, but no audio. Mind of God, you there? Just got to get Mind of God back in. It should
That
be.
would have been noisy, sorry.
refresh, mind of God. Sorry about that, guys. All right.
That's all right.
Mind of God, where are you? Just need to refresh.
So I came out and came back in again.
Yeah. He should just be able to. Oh, he's
Gentlemen,
back in.
I'm back.
All right, sorry
back.
about that, mind of God. I had a brief power cut. It's all back. Right. I do apologise to everyone in the chat there. Sorry about that. But we're back where we were going. Carry on, guys. My apologies.
Wait.
Dave Langer in the
Okay.
chat was
Wait.
Mog got raptured.
Yeah, it's
my
another
God.
Azurite thing.
That made me laugh. Oh, man. Hopefully he's coming for us soon, man. But
Right.
sorry,
I
Professor
need
Bell.
that
Yes.
for my DPS gear.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay,
All right.
so
Definitely.
would you
we
say
were
that
talking
I've
about
thoroughly picked apart? Yeah, I've thoroughly picked apart all your arguments, correct? Are we okay?
No,
with
you
everything
haven't. All you
flat
did
now?
was say no.
Oh, okay.
No,
Okay.
sorry, you just said no. It's okay. I can live with that. Put it
That's
this way.
fine. So-
Let me phrase it like this.
Yes.
I don't expect to change your mind.
Yes. Same.
Okay, I'm not expecting to change your mind. I'm just we're providing a show that has some entertainment value and hopefully also some educative value as well. And
Right.
and maybe there's some fence sitters out there. Let me talk to you. This flat Earth stuff is nonsense. Okay, and very soon it'll become patently obvious when things like space hotels and space travel becomes something that's available to ordinary people. It is now, but it's to lay people. But you need a lot of money. Eventually, people with not much money will be able to go into space.
Did you know that the
When that
owner
happens-
of Cirque du Soleil has been to space 3 times?
Yeah, exactly.
Who has?
So if
The
you've got
owner
the
of
money, you
Cirque,
can do
the
it
owner
now.
of Cirque du Soleil.
He's Canadian, so he's a bit more trustworthy. But
Yeah, he's been to space 3 times.
What?
space is what
I
now?
certainly would go.
Space-
Okay, all right. So
Space
why don't we
hotels,
discuss
Professor
this?
Bell?
What's that?
But space hotels, you genuinely believe that there are going to be actual living establishment on the planets? That's your claim?
Eventually, there'll be some sort of settlement on Mars, but that's a long, long way off. There'll certainly be settlements on the Moon very soon. Okay, so very soon there's actually quite a bit of a race going on. I can tell you now, and this is one of the reasons
have
that
nothing to do
that the
with
Vikram
settlements on any planet.
lander was
Just,
there. There's a big race going on.
basically
a race
like the
between the
ISS.
Chinese, the Indians, the Americans,
What's planned?
the Europeans to get
Just
to the moon, and
all
they're all a
around the
sweet
air-
spot,
all- they
which
just
is
fall
which
around
is
the Earth
actually,
24/7.
if you want to call it the south pole of the moon. Where water in space costs $36,000 per kilogram. Okay, so it's a valuable resource in space, and of course everybody's vying to get there. And there's no telling what sort of other advantages, certainly military advantages, they might have if they're able to have some permanent establishment on the moon. There's some excitement in that in terms of science, but there's also in that, I have to add.
Okay, so you believe there could even be a golf course one day on the moon, like the Masters in 2035, something absurd like that, right?
That already is that yeah, you've got to imagine there's no atmosphere to speak of up there. So
So you have a par 3 dog leg of 700 miles, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah. Snap hook.
Yeah. Gravity's
Okay.
1/6. It is. Okay. Oh, another fact, by the way. Okay, it's another fact. All right. Do you know the retro reflectors on the moon? Have you heard of them?
No, I haven't. No.
Okay, so basically, the Apollo missions, I think it was 15 that left the
Wait,
one
he
that's
seriously
currently
doesn't
being
know
used.
what the retro
retro reflector. The other one, I think, is out of
What?
service or not being serviced at all. But the one that was left by Apollo 15 most certainly is being used. And guess what? They fire pulse lasers at it and measure the laser beam back again. There definitely is a retro reflector, and you've got to ask yourself, how did it get there?
Get where?
What do you think? Hey? How did the retro reflector get on the moon?
Get there and then reflect?
Yeah, how did the retro reflector get on the moon? The laser, the moon's surface is impossible to be able to return a precision laser pulse. That would be impossible on the moon's surface. It would
sorry, I see your point now. You believe someone put it there? It's like dangling there.
Gosh, wow. You fast today.
I thought you were talking about the reflective properties of the moon just by itself, being unique. No. Okay, so they went there. No. They used Velcro or crazy glue, or like what substance did they use? Just regular.
It has gravity. You could just put it on the ground. It has gravity. I know that's terribly hard for a flat earther to understand. Okay,
it is. Especially a biblical one,
you imagine
that's a light.
You imagine that it falls off, don't you? You can imagine you've got a belt.
Something like that. Yeah, something like that. I take the biblical stance.
I did say we'll try to make the show entertaining, and you're doing a better job than me.
No, it's funny for me listening to you, and it's probably funny for you listening to me. So, there's humor baked in this, no doubt. But
come on, let's get on to the Black Swan thing. I'm getting to it.
Yeah, the Black Swan you should look at because of the statements that we've had to hear from the ballers about what it does to the model, and it stretches it to the point where it requires non-physical levels of refraction. So I would highly recommend you look at it and just look at it.
I want to look at it here now. Come on, let's deal with it now.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, so what the fat Earth?
I'm here. Yes.
Can you put it up, please? Way to go! What a beautiful image. Okay,
yes.
Of incredible amount of distortion. And remember, I did say to you.
Yeah.
The distortion's self-evident. You can have a look at the things that are supposed to be straight. Yes, it is.
The distortion.
You said just say no.
Well, it's local. It's not uniform across the whole image. That's the problem.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what well said. Congratulations.
Let me walk you through this.
Okay.
Let me walk you through this. Let me walk you through this image as if I was a ray traversing ball Earth. Okay. Let's say I was along that line in the background of that water. Let's just even say it's 9.5 miles away, just slightly behind platform habitat. Let's say I was a ray that has now interacted with that, or the cluster of rays. You now believe then that ray shoots up and around the ball Earth, right? And so let's focus on the ones closest to the surface. What you should do when you have a little bit of time, just get a piece of paper and a pen and just draw the density profile that would allow that ray to steer itself tight to the surface over ball Earth, and you'll find that that's a non-physical density.
I'm showing it to you now, just in case you were wondering. And it's not density; it's temperature that's important.
Yeah.
Whatever governs the direction change of that light ray. So you guys say it's temperature, which leads to a density change, and then that's what Snell's law would need, right? FDFE? Like it's temperature to density.
Well, it's the temperature gradient, the changes in temperature that can cause the physical distortion of light. But it's not my debate. I'm trying not to get involved.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. No, I've heard that from others. But it's the temperature then which leads to a density profile that would then be entered into Snell's law to govern this change in direction. So you don't have to do it now, but I would highly recommend you do that. There is no
keep saying the right things, but just drawing the wrong conclusion.
No, I'm asking you to do it. You should look at what you're claiming is happening to produce an image like that, which is actually not really.
Have a look at this one.
Yeah.
Where's FDFE put my image up if you like, one of the Black Swan, well, not the Black Swan, but certainly one of the images that I gave you with the rigs, where you, well, pretty much similar to this, where you can only see some of it, not this one, one of the others. So here you can see, yeah, that's it. Yeah, okay. So please, where is half the rig?
Right. So I want, just so we're playing fair, I recognize that in your model, at least from what Rumpus and others have shown me, that objects can appear you can have an image that looks flat, you can have an image that looks concave, you can have an image that looks convex. I get that based on the assumptions. I don't think you guys are aware of the fact that we have the same flexibility as you all. It's just we're looking at different conditions that produce those images. So if you have to understand that obstruction bottom up across a flat plane has been proven rigorously. So I don't know if you appreciate that.
Seriously? You're seriously looking at this image that's ahead of us. You're seriously looking at and saying that has something to do with perspective.
It's not just perspective.
Really?
He goes into all the Bessel functions and
half
look
of
at the
that
map,
rig.
look at his video.
This isn't a little bit at the bottom. This isn't some little bit that's bottom. This is half of the rig.
Yeah, like I said earlier, and you agreed, height gives a
This
preference.
is a serious problem for you. Come on. Come on, this is a serious problem for you.
It's not as serious as claiming infinite refraction in the Black Swan. I'd rather have these problems than your problems. And I don't want to fight the flat Earth problems.
This alone, this image alone, destroys any notion that...
because objects can be obstructed and are obstructed always bottom up. No. I would say actually always bottom first in any scenario. Always. Actually.
You can pretend
because
as much as you
like we both like we both agreed, height always gives preference for visibility. It doesn't limit the ability to see things.
Okay, what do you think would have a bit higher in this particular case?
Say that once more.
If the person taking this photograph got a bit higher up, what do you think what do you think they would see?
You would be able to see more.
Really?
Not all the time, actually.
Not the distance.
Actually. I would even say not necessarily. It actually still depends on the viewing conditions, but I would assume that if you gave it more height, it wouldn't hurt. You would have a better chance at seeing the things that you believe are not visible, or quote blocked. All I'm saying is it will not.
I got to hand it to you
to have height.
I got to hand it to you. Your ability to squirm is fantastic.
Yeah, I learned that from Craig. We've been on debates multiple times.
He taught me how to.
Hey, come on.
You are. I got to hand it to you. You're pretty good at it. However you learned it, and if Craig taught you that, then he's a master.
We've gone up against the Rumpus, who is the premier ray tracer, and we absolutely humiliated him a couple of days ago. So these kind of things have all been ironed out.
The Rumpus wants to come in the after show, so
that's fine. Yeah, we'll see him. Yeah. And get Life is Short.
Can we have a look at
bring him on?
Okay.
And if Russian Vids is there, bring him on. We can just light the whole thing up.
Can we have so Fight the Flat Earth? Can we have my diagram?
Yes.
FTFE, dude. If you give me a wrench, dude, I could put Life is Short's video in the chat. But you didn't give me a wrench, man. That's like wrench discrimination.
I choose wrenches once a month, and it's not that date.
Can you give it to any flat earther who can put Life is Short's video in the chat?
Or someone else could just grab it.
Yeah, go to Life is Short's channel. He's a scholar. I believe he's part of Globebusters. That is the most rigorous piece of anything that scholarship that I've seen on either side. It's not these cartoons and the nonsense that Rumpus puts up and whatever this gibberish you're about to show us.
Yes, you're the master of squirming and not.
Right.
Pretty. All right. So let me explain this for a minute. Okay, I'm pretty sure you know what I'm about to say, but we'll do it for the viewers anyway. Okay, so the observer. So light obviously is reflected back from the object. So it comes from the object back to the observer, and what you're seeing here is looming. So as the light's refracted, it looks, for all intents and purposes, to the observer as if they were looking straight ahead. But in fact, they're actually looking at an image that's beyond the horizon. that's beyond the geometric horizon, and so that light is bent, as you see from the red lines, from the red rays, through different layers of temperature, and it's pretty obvious that it would loom like that. And what is the evidence for that the looming is taking place? Not just looming, but also towering. We can see the actual image is so badly distorted that we can actually see how things are stretched, and we can see how distorted they are almost everywhere in that image, which explains why you can see in the distance. Now, bear in mind, remember I told you this. Remember I did explain to you. I said that's kind of like what it would look like if it was flat. All right, because things would be things would get smaller and smaller and smaller into the distance and squish into the distance. Okay. And if this image were on a flat Earth, then you would be swearing that there was a fog there, because you should be able to see further than that. Okay? But you can't see further than that because there's such a lot of distortion. And it's this distortion that's actually causing the looming.
You can
so I'm afraid
that,
the next one was not worth 5 minutes. All right? You should go back and tell...
I need to see the density profile that will allow those rays to loom or tower, like you just said. I need to see it. Maybe we need to have another hangout where we need to go.
Oh, hold on, I can show you that. Give me
sure,
2 seconds.
they're available to you.
Desktop capture.
But Craig, I'm going to ask some questions about what you're about to post.
Okay, I'm just getting it up for reference. You guys carry on.
Okay, so I want to make sure that then you're going to use that profile uniformly across the surface of the water. You apply that everywhere in XY.
So, do you agree? Do you think that Snell's law applies? That it's a thing?
Yes, I do. Rumpus gave me a nice briefer on that. It's Maxwell to Fermat to Snell's law. The Fermat, I believe, gives the speed or the time. The ray, it picks the shortest, and then Snell's governs the direction. So that's what I gather.
Why do you think? Why do you think that wouldn't apply on both a flat Earth and a spherical model?
I do believe it applies. I just want to know the density, the gradient, or sorry, the atmospheric profile.
I'm showing it to you now.
Would allow that. Right. So are you applying that consistently across the water?
This simulation would apply that consistently across the water.
Okay.
And
so 1 foot above the water?
In this simulation, it is showing how you would get those particular images based on our known quantifications of refraction. And as you can see here, it shows what the temperature profile would be as you got higher above the water in feet. So, as you got to about 50 feet above the water, there's actually a large temperature inversion that is what causes all this in the background.
Okay. But 1 foot above the water, everywhere along what we see would have the same point, right? Temperature and then density a figure. That's what like at 1 feet, 2 feet. It's all I'm saying is it's applied uniformly, right, across the whole surface.
I believe when Mick wrote this particular simulation, that is how he put it. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. So what you guys need to do is just understand then that you have a constant density profile at different elevations spread uniformly across the surface of the water, and so now you're going to propagate light rays through that, right? And so you're going to infinite refraction or high amounts of refraction to produce that image, that black swan. Refraction is another word for direction. So your rays are constantly changing direction as they go across the surface of the Earth to reach the observer, which is only a few feet above the ground. So that's the part where we need to see a mathematical treatise on that. How does that work? You can't just flash a red graph with a bunch of points. Show us that, and then show me a ray traveling over the surface that profile produces all those changes that allow that to happen. And you'll see, because I've done this just in my own, just
you seem to have all the all the things that you need. Why don't you do that and then prove that they're wrong?
I'm asking you guys to do that because it's non-physical.
Why should we?
Well, you don't have to.
We have our model. We're satisfied with our model. You tell us why our model is wrong.
Professor, now you're saying no and all that. Why are you doing that? You were making fun of it.
No, I'm not.
Like,
I'm not saying no. I've already told you what happens. I've given you the evidence. I've told you what happens. I've shown you the evidence of why I know that there's looming. You're the one who's saying nah. Now, if you want to back up your nah with some evidence, go for it.
Well, I'm telling you that
in the meantime,
that assumption that you guys are making,
that
assumption you're making close to the surface of the water will not allow light rays to change, like somebody quoted me in the chat correctly, a change in direction perpetually for those surface rays. It will not allow that. So we've heard stories from Rumpus and others talk about higher order derivatives, but we need to see that. You know, we're math people. If you show us that, we'll be able to criticize it. We need to see that.
You said the word not. Okay. You said the word not. What's your evidence?
Right. Of what?
You said that the light wouldn't bend like that. What's your evidence for that?
It can't, because the density is constant at various heights along the surface of the water, and so there is no gradient that will steer the rays. That's my point.
The temperature. You were told.
No, it's constant at every height. You've applied.
Did you forget that it was the temperature gradient?
No, well, I get that, but you apply that gradient everywhere along the surface, and then you will not be able to steer a ray through that medium. You will not.
How do you know that? How do you know that?
If you start with a ray leaving the horizon, which is just a line of water, and then now it's traveling over Earth's curve, you then will kind of Snell's law at each intersection point. We know that it's going to need to change direction constantly to go over the Earth curve. And so then you would then put a density profile that would make that happen. And so that is not physical.
I'm sorry, but it does. And no, it does. And you had no evidence at all to back up your assertion that you just made. None at all.
At every step along that ray, you have to experience a new density to cause it to change direction. So
it's the temperature gradient.
Right, but it has to stay.
Now, if you disagree, if you disagree, experiment and show us. In the meantime, we've got a model that we use.
Yeah, but I can't show you something that's non-physical, right? Like, I have to show you first and foremost an atmosphere that curves, that bends.
Then don't make the assumption.
1 second, let me finish my point. First, I have to make. 1 second, I have to first make a layered atmosphere that curves around a surface, which is impossible. And if you have suggestions, I'm open to that. Next, I then have to shoot a ray through that and then have it stay along a constant density medium tight to the surface of the Earth, but it constantly changes direction. How am I supposed to do? You can't do that. Like, fundamentally, that channel is constant. That ray, when it starts and stays along the surface and ends, it's in the exact same medium. It doesn't know that anything's changed. So if it doesn't know that anything's changed, how does it know to change direction? That's my fundamental point. This is over for Ball Earth, man. You guys got to stop this. You know, it's over now. Rest in peace.
You need to just stop talking for a minute. Let me respond to what you say.
Sure. One sec, guys. I'm going to nip away for 1 sec because I need to take a Riley. You guys carry on. I'll be back in a second.
A Riley? What the hell? Oh, God. Jeez.
Okay, so did he ask us to wait or carry on?
I think he said go ahead.
I think maybe in the interest of running a show, we ought to carry on. Okay.
Yeah, I don't feel comfortable unless he's around to babysit us. But you know, if you're okay with continuing.
Yeah, no, I'm fine. No, we're grown-ups. I think we can manage.
Oh, come on.
So
my third one of those I got so far.
You made some very definitive assertions.
Yes, I did.
What is your evidence making those assertions? You certainly wouldn't accept me saying
I could use
making
everything
off the cuff assertions like that.
I also don't need.
The only hope you guys have. The only hope you guys have.
I could
is
actually
that light ray
use
is aware of what's going on in the higher level layers, but the whole point of that black swan is that those rays that are tight to the surface, because the observer is very close to the surface,
cloth and leather.
They don't leave a very big.
They do not
few
need
feet from the surface of the water.
mail.
So in that channel, you guys have to produce a profile, some kind of direction change for that ray all the way for 10 miles, and you just will not be able to do that. So that's why the black swan is
can I respond?
Yeah, go for it.
Can I respond? Okay.
Yeah, go for it.
First of all, just to make one of your points, I know that you're a spiritual person, but the rays are not sentient, so they don't make
I
decisions.
agree.
Exactly, they're not
And
sentient.
they
They
have a
don't
driver's
need
license
to
either.
know
They don't
that
know
they
how
have to
drive over a curve
change
as well.
direction.
Yeah. They don't have a
Even
driver's
saying
license.
that already disqualifies
bend.
you from
They'll
being
bend because of
taken
the
serious.
temperature, great. So that's why that happens. All right, and because of that, we get the looming, and the evidence for that is the distortion of the image. That's very, very self-evident.
How
There's
does
no
Ray
gradient
know
among
how
white
to fall down?
Yes, but you
What?
say that.
Where's
You
down?
say
There's
that
no
there
There's
isn't.
no
gradient. There's no
down,
gradient
there's just
along the
gravity
path.
that
Tell
goes
it.
to the middle
Prove
of
it.
our
There's a
fucking
gradient.
planet,
Prove
like
it.
Gradient from
the
Snowy.
middle.
There's a gradient
Doesn't
from
matter
surface
where
outwards,
you
but there's no
are.
gradient along the ray path.
We'll just
along
pull
the
you
surface.
to the middle.
That's
Really?
my
Did
point.
you measure it? Did
To the
you?
middle.
No, that's in the assumption.
Mog, I think
Yeah.
you're missing a simple thing though.
Yeah, go for it.
If the assumption is that the Earth is curved, then of course
Yeah.
the gradient is also going to be curved. And if light travels in a straight line, it will be traveling through the gradient because it's going through the curved atmosphere.
Yeah, but it's staying close to the surface. I'm more about the surface rays, not the ones up above. I agree that you can get rays to curve in those kind of environments. That's been demonstrated. I'm talking about the ones that are along the surface and staying in a constant density chamber, corridor, whatever you want to call it. So that's where baller ends for me, because once I heard Rufus say that, and then Rumpus and these people said all they can appeal to is higher order derivatives to make that steer itself, that's when a mathy person like myself says I can't be part of baller. So that's why I'm here defending the flat earth and the Bible.
Really? So the satellites mean nothing to you? The Himawari pictures.
I don't disagree that there are things up there moving around, but no, do I think that that's an actual faithful representation of our Earth that I'm standing on? Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Well, this is the model that we rely on, and every part of it works.
If it works for you, that's fine. I would say my reality is, like I said, the Bible, the optics, and the pilots, and my senses. So.
Oh, let's get to the pilots. I forgot about them.
Yes, right, yep. You believe? First of all, Professor,
let me bring up that backup set for you.
Do you believe that video is CGI, or do you accept that those people are actual pilots, or do you believe they're fakers?
It just shadow you, idiot.
I don't think they fake for a minute.
Fun of you.
Okay, good. I'm glad you said that, because I don't believe.
But I would like to respond to it though.
No real person that isn't a fucking flat
Right,
earther runs around, screams.
That was Comedy Central.
CGI!
You know those people were having you on. You know those people were having him on, right?
Well,
especially the
Aussies. But I asked friends.
Only
my friends
fucking conspirators run around and scream CGI.
So, yeah, they could, but I confirmed it with two people that I know who are pilots. So I'm not that stupid where I'm like, the video's real. Like, obviously, we know there's a lot of manipulation in the world, right? Even on the flat earth side.
No, he calls it CGI.
I've got some bad news for you.
Basically.
Just stop for a minute. I've got some... I don't know if it's bad news. No, it's probably good news, actually. Your friends probably love over this.
This better not be Wolfie. You play a Wolfie video, I'm going to tell YouTube to shut it down again.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, was that you that did it last time? Come on.
You know how much power I have, with all my subs, Craig? A lot.
Yeah.
Hey, listen. Look, I agree that you're religious and all that, and actually, there's a couple of things I don't understand. If I may just pursue this with you, okay?
Sure.
All right. First of all, this idea of gravity. Do you think gravity is a thing or not?
I debunked that, actually. You should watch our last hangout with
you haven't.
FTFE. And,
what do you mean you debunked it?
By using
exactly
the word orthogonal.
Right,
Phil, let me explain to you what he thinks. He thinks that, say there's three objects, right? You've got the Earth, and you've got an ant sitting on the Earth, and you've got a crane above the ant, okay? He thinks that if the crane was falling towards the Earth, the ant should be able to feel the force that the crane above it is also feeling.
Yes, correct.
And that's fucking retarded.
If gravity worked as a magnetic field or an electric field, they could obey those kind of principles, but it doesn't. And so the fact that it doesn't, I used orthogonal, but I think I'm going to use independent going forward. But you can't have an independent field and one that obeys superposition like those other ones do. So you guys are double dipping, and so that's the problem with gravity at a
Look at that guy
mathematical level.
laughing.
It doesn't work.
Let me ask you. Just stop for a minute, okay? Can I ask you a question?
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So, do you agree that things fall if you drop them?
If the environment that's surrounding it enables that, it may not. But if you're talking generally,
if I let go of it, will it fall?
That one will. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Why? Why
not
did it
because
fall?
things fall.
Not because it's attracted to the Earth.
No, you've got to tell me why. Don't worry about why it's not.
He didn't ask you why it doesn't do it. He specifically asked you why it does do it.
By the way, FTFE, you missed a gem that I dropped in our very, very first debate. I think it just went over everybody's head. I would say in a model that there's a unit vector pointing down. So all things equal, density above and below being equal, there's a unit vector that says the default will go down. And so
I agree. It's called gravity.
On a flat Earth. I wouldn't call it gravity. I would just say if the density or the medium above and below are the same, then
they're not though. The medium above is less dense than the medium below because we have.
No, but I'm saying in the most difficult case. I'm saying in the case where you guys make the argument, well, okay, if it's following density, why doesn't it go up?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. I'm just saying that there's a unit vector pointing down.
Right, I'm going to stop talking. I'm sorry. I've been really wanting to jump in.
We agree with that. We agree with that vector. It's called gravity.
I know you do, but I would just say I would attribute that unit vector to the creator, the Heavenly Father who created all.
Oh, okay. That's fine. God created gravity. Well done for him. Poof,
oh man, now you're blaspheming him, Professor Bell. Just relax.
No, not at all. I think actually, this was the point I was going to. I think that you flat Earth people are mocking God.
If it's not flat, yes.
Surely God is smarter than to create the abomination that you call flat Earth. You've got to admit.
The abomination.
Let's bring this back on track a second. Man of God, you have made a claim. The claim you've made is that there is a vector that will make things go down. Can you please explain to us what is causing that vector?
Like I said, it'd have to be God. It'd have to be. So that's
as soon as you invoke God, you lose.
Well, no. I mean, to people who don't believe, that's fine. That's all I can do.
Right. So magic's a thing. Cool.
No, FTFE, that's okay. He can invoke his God. So it's all right. So for things that fall, if I drop my pen, it's going to fall. That's God.
No, I would just say the bias towards down as opposed to up, with all else things being equal. That's God's design. Yeah. That's
I can't even dispute that. So God created gravity.
And you don't have to believe it, but you can call it gravity. I have no issues with you.
I'm not making a claim about believing God or not. I'm just saying. I'm just reasserting your assertion. That is, God did it, right?
But let's say even if we take a step back and say the desire for an object to fall towards the Earth fundamentally, you would call it gravity, and I would call it, this unit vector that, pulls the object.
What's wrong with God?
Down.
Yeah. Okay. So what's wrong with God who made the Earth spherical?
He could have. It's just not the God of the Bible. He could have.
Really?
Yeah.
Who said?
Just the Bible.
Yeah.
It makes very clear.
Ow, my head.
Now, the other point I wanted to make about gravity was this: why are you afraid of gravity in your flat Earth model? Why are you afraid of gravity?
I'm not afraid of it. I just don't like the contradiction.
Why does gravity bother you?
It doesn't bother me. Well, let me answer. It doesn't obey the same principles like an electric field and a magnetic one, which obey superposition. And so superposition.
Electric fields also have the same relationship, by the way.
Have
you heard of Coulomb's law?
Yes, I have.
Have you heard of Coulomb's law?
Yeah, it's the electric field governed
by Q1, Q2 over R squared.
Yeah, it's the intensity of the attraction between 2 point charges. Yeah.
No, just listen to me say it again. Listen to me say it again, okay?
Yeah.
K, the constant, times Q1, Q2 over R squared.
Correct.
Listen to the gravitational one. F. M2 over R squared. You think it's a coincidence?
Yeah, you guys piggyback real things. You piggyback something that's real. So,
Wait,
so
you know that Coulomb's law was made like 100 years after Newton's law, right? Newton died. Newton died, and then like 18 years later, Coulomb came up with his thing.
But the only thing that those things, but Craig, really the only information is kind of the constant and then the inverse squared relationship. So,
yeah, and it applies all over nature.
What is that?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not that, you know.
So God created all these magnificent relationships, and you're denying it.
What is obsidian destruction?
Well, no, just the gravity.
Dealing a lot of damage, but I have no idea what.
You should go and say about 50 Hail Marys, I reckon.
Gravity does not obey superposition, even though you claim that it does. That's my problem. It actually obeys it only on a point-to-point per mass, and then after you get that force, then this independence kicks in, and that's voodoo to me. You know, like you can't obey superposition at a point level, but then disregard it between masses. You know, that's not real. That's not real life.
I reckon if you want to get raptured, you better go and get some forgiveness, mate, for turning God's world into an abomination.
That's why I asked FTFE to go 5% to charity to try and, you know, cover up some of our sins. He has a lot more sins than I do.
And just to back up that, 5% of super chats from today will be going to an education charity that will be chosen by my channel members and patrons.
I love it. That's excellent.
That'll be excellent. Thank you.
Yeah. So hopefully that they'll be educated to go against the system and understand that the Earth is flat stationary. So that is my hope and prayer for that money. But that's good, you know, Professor Bell. I think that we've all concluded I won. You know, that's fine. I mean, I beat Craig already, so it's not personally. You know,
did we just slip into an alternate reality, or?
Did you just get Mandela effect, or what's going on? You know, don't worry. I mean, I have a lot of victims along my path. You know, Craig a few times, and then, you know, yourself here, and then don't worry. You know, it's nothing personal.
Yeah.
So.
Now you've got a bomb right next to you, and with some really, really good shit in it, haven't you?
By the way, if you go to India with my people, Professor Bell, and you start sharing this ball earth thing, I'll be very, very disappointed in you. So don't do that. My people do not need more voodoo like the ball earth. You know,
I'm sorry, but the horse is bolted on that one too. I've never met an Indian who thinks the earth is flat. In fact, there's so many I've spoken to them about it, just laugh.
By the way, how do you believe that climate change works in a open system? Isn't that more of a flat earth enclosed system proof?
What the fuck did you just say? Sorry.
Yeah. I was asking Professor Bell, but how, if there is a, you know, through human means, the world is heating up, you know, wouldn't that seem more of a problem in an enclosed structure that we live in with the firmament?
Well, first of all, if there was a firmament, then how many years do you think is it since God made all this stuff? 6,000 years, I think. Is that
part? I don't know. I mean, I just don't even know how to get that from the Bible or in real life.
Have a guess. 6,000 years,
sure.
You think?
Yeah, sure, that's fine.
Yeah, around about there. So the sun has been producing energy underneath this dome for 6,000 years. Have you ever heard of a kitchen appliance called an air fryer?
No, I don't think so. I can
it's
look
a heating element that heats up the air inside a heating element that heats up the air in this dome that you put your food in, to cook your food.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Why wouldn't that be the case underneath this great big dome after 6,000 years of heating it up? Where's all the heat? Where's all the heat gone?
We don't actually know if it's fully closed. I mean, I don't know about all those different aspects of the firmament and all
but
that.
you do. You keep saying that you can't have a gas pressure without a container. I hear that so often, that ridiculous statement that...
It was more about the locality and the fact that there is some kind of covering, you know, would be more worrisome to somebody who's worried about climate change than a 93 million mile sun with just a vast opening to it, you know.
Just between you and me, are you a Poe?
What does oppose stand for? I would say I'm only in these debates because of the Bible. So that's, or else I wouldn't spend very much time in it.
From my interactions with him, I don't think he's a pope.
Yeah, I think if you spent an hour or two with one of my classes, you wouldn't go around saying the Earth is flat.
What?
No,
I think you have sufficient intelligence to be able to figure that out. Actually, I reckon I've worked you out a little bit. You're actually quite a smart bloke.
No, I'm more of a flat earther after. Every time I talk to Craig, that's why I come here, because Craig's like a baptism into the flat earth pool for me. I just need a shower, and I get more flat. So
it's probably us who needs a shower afterwards.
Oh God, yeah.
Except that I've got a class on very shortly, so I won't have time for a shower.
But I would say the flat earth is a part of the gospel. I know people don't like this, but if I'm to teach the Bible,
I forgot that I still need one of the
books. This is an aspect of it, and it's a pretty important one. So I come as a person who's a biblical flat earther. So if that's a poll, I guess, sure, you can call me that. But if the Bible did not have a stance
in the Bible,
stop pretending that you don't know what a fucking poll is.
That the Earth is flat.
It infers it. The Bible doesn't directly say a lot of things. It's a strong inference, an obvious extrapolation.
Is this in this middle column? Speculation? Is that where we put it?
No, it's historical. One of them in particular.
You cleaned the board.
Fact.
Yeah, I did clean the board. Bugger it.
It would be in this case, it would actually be historical evidence.
Yeah. Okay. Remember what the middle column was?
I don't remember a lot of your talk, Professor Bell, and I may delete that from my memory, but refresh it.
I'll bet you will. Okay. I don't think you will. It's one of those things where the horse is bolted. Okay.
The horse is bolted.
You will remember my words. You'll remember my words to the day you die.
Just be nice to my people in India, man. Don't go and tell them about spinning ball Earth and all that. They don't need that.
He doesn't need to. They already know it all.
They're going through
it's already too
right
late
now.
for that.
And
I've been telling them stuff for about 11 years now.
They need the flat stationary Earth. They believe in a whole bunch of different gods, so don't bring that confusion to my people.
That's the thing about it is they actually do. They have about 1,000 gods between them. And
Correct.
Yet that doesn't make them deny the science. They still accept the science and their gods at the same time. They just don't mix those two up.
Those 1,000 gods are telling them that the Earth is a ball, so they're not confused in that regard.
Do you think there is 1,000 gods?
No, I'm saying those 1,000 false gods are telling them about their false gods.
Oh no, it's false
gods. Oh, that's very nice for you.
Well, I mean, I grew up in a Hindu family. I'm aware of their outlandish beliefs. It's preposterous.
Wow,
fucking piece of shit.
Like the Earth is flat. That's sort of.
No, that God manifests in 1,000 different, ways.
You walk right into it, don't you?
I'll give you that one. Man. You got me there. That's the only one. But aside from that, this probably another W for T-Mog, but don't worry. I mean, you just said you're going on to bigger and better things, so you won't remember, right? So it's fine.
I'll tell you something. You're unforgettable. I will not forget you, and I will not forget this day.
Good.
Yeah, I'll never forget him saying the word orthogonal 963,000 times in one debate. That's for sure.
Yeah. I'm going to say independent now because I think we all understand.
Well, yeah, it's true because you don't know what the word orthogonal means, so you probably should.
Well, no, I do. We do. I do.
One day maybe I'll be lying there.
Craig,
maybe one day I'll be lying there on my last day, and I'll think.
Craig, you can't have a 4D vector that's 90 degrees apart, right? So that term is used for higher dimensional spaces, or 4 or 5.
Yeah, but I don't think you know what the actual word orthogonal means because you use it wrong all the time.
All right, I promise to not say it, so let's leave it. That's fine. Sure, leave it at that. Okay. All right. So, okay. Craig, who do you think won?
I do have a lecture that starts in 20 minutes, and I need to prepare myself for it. So,
any final words? Any final words before you disappear?
Yep, sure. First of all, it was a lot of fun, and the mind of God. You are definitely amazing squirmer. Okay, and I don't mean that in a bad way. Actually, it takes quite a lot of intelligence as a good squirmer like you are, because you have to think on your feet and think very quickly. So you obviously have the talent. I think your talent's wasted on flat Earth.
Okay, well, that's fair enough.
Okay, so,
yeah,
all right, it's okay. And by the way, as for your God, I respect that. Okay,
that's good to hear, man. That's excellent. We're still observing, you know, whether he does what he says, but it's looking good.
Sure. You never know. I might come to that stage at the end of my life where I've got I look up at the sky and I think, well, maybe will I hedge my bets or not?
There you go.
And then reach out to God. You never know.
If you come by my channel, there's a group of elite flat earthers, you know, and I do Bible studies. We're taking a little bit of a break.
Retards. Oh my God.
Welcome. Fight the Flat Earth is going to do an opening prayer soon.
Nice.
And we can have everybody there. So come by.
There's more chance of me cheese grating.
I'll tell you something. I'll tell you something, the mind of God. Let me tell you something that's I'll take a serious moment now, okay?
Sure.
There's nothing more than I would like to believe that there's an afterlife, and to believe that my loved ones are up there.
That's awesome.
My son is in a box up there on my shelf.
Wow.
That's my son up there. There's nothing more that I'd like to believe that he's somewhere where I'll see him again.
That's great.
So I respect what you say.
I hope so too. I believe that we are not just physical. There's a spiritual component. So I appreciate that statement.
That's all right. Well, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Phil, very much for coming on. I really appreciate you taking the time to do this. I know it's extremely early for you over there, and you have to go and do some real educating. So I appreciate you taking the time.
No worries. It's been a pleasure.
No, thank you very much. Have a nice day.
Take care.
Yeah, you too.
Guys. What we're going to do, I'm going to ask Mind of God to just give any final thoughts, and then I'm going to read out super chats, and then we are going to go over to the after show. Oh, let me get this up. Then we're going to go over to the after show on my channel. So, Mind of God, any final thoughts on what's just happened?
Well, I like our last couple of discussions, you know, Craig. I think when we first talked, years, I guess now, you know, we were new to this.
About 14 months ago, I think our first debate was.
Right. Yeah. I think it was actually near the end of 2018.
Possibly. Yeah.
Don't quote me on that, but yeah, I mean, it's cool. It's interesting to see how the whole debate has evolved and all that kind of stuff. I would say our last couple have been very civil. You know, I'm actually taking a little bit of a Bible break for a little while, so these are fun, you know, and interesting. So thanks for having me on.
No worries. Like I said, there's going to be an after show. I know the Rumpus wants to come in. Hip Hop Hippie is hanging around in the chat. I'm going to try and get Team Skeptic in, and any other people want to discuss what's happened today, or just to shout at Mind of God. Chuck me an email or something, and we'll get you in. But what we're going to do right now, guys, I'm going to read out the super chats that I've had, and then we're going to shut this stream down and head over to the after show. This time, these super chats have worked, and I can read them all out. I do want to say, the last debate that I had, YouTube screwed up and I couldn't read out the super chats, and I am really sorry that I couldn't do that, because you know, I really appreciate the support that you guys give me. So I am sorry I didn't get to read out if you super chatted last time, but I'm going to read them all out now. And I'm going to bump up to 10% of all the super chats that I get today will go to an education charity that's going to be chosen by my my patrons and channel members. So
hand clap for that, FTFE. Cheers.
Okay, let's start with Michael Ramone for $13.99. I think that's PlayStation Network dollars. I'm not sure. Looking forward to this. It should be epic.
What?
I think that was a pretty good show. I bit my tongue so hard. You've no idea, but yeah. We've got Raven Zero for $2. Says test. We hear you. Thank you very much. The plot hole, and guys, if you can see the T-shirt I'm wearing, the plot hole. You can get these from theplothole.com, I believe. And it's one of my favourite T-shirts. I fucking love it. So thank you. Plothole for $5 says, here's for the NASA Shill Fund. Cheers to you all. Enjoy the show. Crafty Keela for €2. Sending love and support. Will you get my love back? Thank you.
And more mail.
Andreja Blaj. I probably just absolutely ruined your name. I am sorry. You gave me 50
Stop
MKD,
giving me
MKDs,
mail.
and I'm not sure what they are. Mortal Kombat dollars possibly, but thank you anyway. Then we got Metal Mitchy Gander for $4.99 says, it's mine and my wife's 10-year anniversary today. Can I get a shout out for my lady Ashley? Keep doing what you're doing. There is nothing more important on this planet than love. And to hear of people that have spent a decade together and do not want to murder each other makes me very happy. I've been married myself for 13 years. She hasn't killed me yet, so I must be doing something right. But yeah, congratulations to you guys.
Yet.
David Keller for $5 says, Earth moved from west to east as it rotates counterclockwise 365 days in the year, 24-hour days with a 15-degree drift. He just basically said a bunch of facts there. Thank you. Andrei, I'm sorry, I can't say your name. Andreja Blazhev, 500 MKDs. Thank you. FTFE, you rock, man. I'm a geologist from Eastern Europe, and I can tell you this. 80% of the flurfers are American, and that's proof enough that the Earth is not flat. US education system is failing bad. What do you say about that, mind of God?
Ouch. Well, I was educated in Canada, so I defer that to an American educated.
Isn't Canada a little village in America?
Okay, well, sure, fair enough. I'll take that. That's fine.
Crafty Keela for €2 says, yay, after show. Yes, guys, after show link in the chat now. And then another €2 from Crafty Keela. Professor Philip Bell, contender for a Debunkies Award. I reckon, because he's absolutely brilliant. Andreas in the North for 20 Nokias says, just because. Thank you, I really appreciate it. Crafty Keela for €2. Professor Philip Bell wins. Nothing more to see. Throwing shady there, Mog.
What? By what metric?
All the metrics, but you know. David Keller for $2 says, hello, darkness, my old friend. The Earth is not flat. Crafty Keela for €5 says, I prefer QE standing for questionable education. Thanks, Bob, the science guy. Wessick for $5 says, I vote for Professor Bell to be the next Alfred for the next Batman. Yeah, that would be awesome. Traveller X for $2 Australian says, the mind of God, pay attention to the respected scientist.
If he's a scholar, that's fine. I am as well. So, I don't have to give him too much respect.
Scholar. Crafty Keela for €2 says, hey, John Rapp. Yeah, if John Rapp's there, everyone say hello to him in the correct way. And Angel Gary for $1.99 says, I need to see the math.
Right?
I can always show you the math about what I talk about. Anamorphic Mind for $5 says, is it legal to broadcast the death of the mind of God? People think you were destroyed here.
Ouch. Ooh.
Crafty Keela for €2 says, I love the video, only put the flurfs to sleep. I'm going to see if Professor Philip Bell will actually put that video up on his channel so you guys can see it again if you want to. War Coderid for $5 says, I've come to the conclusion that the bow tie is the more powerful form of tie.
No idea why I have it.
I was going to tell him about that. I knew that
Where does that come
not
from?
a real bow tie. It was a clip-on. I was going to call him out on that.
Crafty Keela for €5 says, the most amusing part of watching Professor Philip Bell bitch-slapping Mog is how desperately FTFE wants to intervene and make it a dumpster fire. Yeah, you've no idea how many times I bit my tongue, honestly. I saw someone in the chat going, oh, why is FTFE popping in? Like, for the past 2.5 hours, I have wanted to scream. You're lucky I didn't do it more. Then we've got Edward Elric for $5 says, Mog, you're an electrical engineer. All these basic questions should have been answered in your physics classes. Are you an engineer, or are you just pretending to get credibility?
I worked as a software engineer, somebody who did imaging of the subsurface, so I'm more into like the seismic part during my career, and then in grad school it was a lot of OFDM, so that's why I use orthogonal a lot. But yeah, I'm a double E. You could go to Western and see my name on the board for the highest average in double E, and my high school and my grade school. So yeah.
All right then. Crafty Keela for €2 says, Goose Faba at FTFE. I'm not sure what that's talking about, but thank you. Irish Demon for $2.99 Australian. Mind of God is so disingenuous. Professor Bell for the win. Are you disingenuous?
I'm here for the Bible, so if the Bible's not true, then I've wasted a lot of time. So I'll say that.
Tell me what pi is.
Fight well, Commander.
I only know it to 8 decimal places.
Cool. What does the Bible say pi is?
3.
I'm not sure what verse he's talking about. If he pulls it, then I can pull it.
So in the
I don't know what the
Bible, God's given instructions to Moses, I believe, tells him to create a bow or something with a 30 cubits around and 10 cubits across. Now that would make pi 3. So is pi 3?
No, it's 3.1415.
Cool.
Those are
So the
first four that I
Bible's just
know.
been falsified, right?
For you, that's not enough. I'm okay if God wants to only use one significant figure. If you want five,
Well, yeah, but it's an
or
objective
six,
fact that 3 is not pi. Pi
if it's
is
one
3.14159. It
but with
can't
one
be 3.
significant figure, let's say it was rounded, that's the correct number, right?
Yeah, but
With one
then the
significant
equations
figure.
don't work. The ratio between a circumference and a diameter is not 3. It can't be.
Yeah, but, sure. I'm saying that there are a lot of contradictions in the Bible. Like there's many more we could discuss, but they're there on purpose so people don't believe it.
Right, so
Oh,
there's
That's the
things in
point.
the
okay.
Bible to put people off on purpose.
Yes,
Cool,
correct,
right,
on purpose.
awesome.
Yeah.
Sparky NJ for $10 says the demand to see pictures of a satellite in space is still the dumbest demand ever. The stupidity to think that there are satellites up there only to take images of other satellites. Mind of God, your thoughts?
That could be a very easy proof if you guys just showed us that. It'd be over. I don't know why this is such a controversial thing. If there are things out there that have this capability, why doesn't it show us what's actually going on out there? That's very strange.
Crafty Kida for €2 says, like this stream or Mind of God will visit you. Oh God, guys, you better hit the like. We've got 754 watching and 326 likes. Let's see if we can get that up to 400, and then Mind of God will not come to your house. Monkey Cat Pat Pat for $2 says, Mind of God, show some evidence instead of denying.
I've shown evidence. I haven't shown proof. So I will admit that, just like the ball earth has not shown proof. So if I were to develop
You
proof,
understand that proof is a specific thing, though, that only exists in maths, right?
yes, I'm glad you said that. That's
or
and that's the
baking.
way. That's the angle with which I think.
Yeah, so
is proof
science,
being unique.
Science doesn't prove anything. However, we can use maths around the heliocentric model to provide proof.
By the way, Craig, or Fightful Letter, sorry, I do agree with you guys about science not proving things, by the way. In this sense, because unless a person has looked at all the search space of variables to manipulate, you can't say that that is the cause until, and sometimes it just takes time, until something else is, discovered that's better. So that part, I actually agree sort of what you guys mean by that. I don't think...
Please tell other flat earthers, because the amount of time that they say, oh, well, you don't know what proof means when...
But I think if you word it the way I said, they'll make more sense to them, because they'll just, they have their own sort of reason. But anyway, go ahead. I'm
John Rapp for $2 Australian dollars says, G'day, awesome crafty keeler, FTFE guest and chat. Hello, John Rapp. The plot hole for Rennie Babe, no, where, I've jumped some, there we go. Traveller X for $2 Australian dollars says, Professor Bell cleaning house like a badass.
Really bad.
And Rennie Baby for $2 American says, came in during a break and got buffering. Blame me. No, blame the hamsters powering my power and stuff here. The plot hole for $2 says for hamster food. Yeah, I often get the outer cheese error. Tommy Gronville for 20 Nokias says power cut. Does this mean the Earth is
blood
flat?
siphon
What do you think,
is
my
really
God,
bad.
with my power cut evidence?
Yeah, it's flat.
Bad.
This
cool.
channel is
This
good
is
evidence
also
for flat
just
Earth. Yes,
BPS.
I mean, you should tell that to the hundreds of people that have emailed me saying that thanks to me they're no longer a flat earther, and the 7 ex-flat earthers that I've interviewed on my channel. But,
Craig, you used to make fun of me because of my low view count, but I got a video that went viral. Do you have a video that has 60,000 views like I do?
60,000, yeah. I've got one with 120,000 views. I've got several with above 80,000 views. So, yeah, no worry. Okay. My channel's got about 5 million views. So,
all right. I shouldn't have brought that up. So sorry. Keep going.
The Wandering Musician, who wrote an amazing fucking song, and I just want to personally thank you for writing that song, because very much like Team Skeptic said, it actually touched me. It was a very personal song, and I can see that you put a lot of your personal self into that, and I felt it. And thank you very much for that, Wandering Musician. Oh, my things just crashed. Let me get the things back. Come on, there we go. Viewer activity. Oh God, where's the super chat's gone? Oh, okay, it's all right. We're good. They didn't disappear. Oh goodness, we've got so many. Thank you. Okay, yeah. Wandering Musician for $2 says, "I just got here and it died. What did I do?" You didn't do anything. John Rapp for $2 says, "Thank you, wonderful chat. Feeling the love in me." Monkey Cat Pat Pat for $2 says, "I needed a break from this stupidity anyway." And then Joe Steen Follett for 50 Nokia says, "Someone burnt down the 5G antenna near FTFE's place." Absolutely. Justin Redline for $5 says, "Everyone donate to pay FTFE's light bill." Don't worry, I've paid my bill. It's just, you know, I live in Scotland, and you know, there's literally guys just turning cranks like this all the time. Basic trigonometry. I'm going to say that correctly. Basic.
Stop blaming the dudes that are on the cranks.
Put this towards an uninterruptible
It's the
power
fucking
supply.
hamsters that just
Sparky
keep on
NB,
dying on
$5
you.
says, "I would
Just
like you to add a rage
admit it.
counter if your internet
Don't feed
power
your
doesn't
hamsters
go that
well
way."
enough.
David Lay for £2 says, "Mog, typical flurf, cherry picking facts." What do you think about that?
Cherry picking facts is still a fact, though. So, but okay, that's fine if you could. I'll take that.
He even admitted it. Nice.
Yeah,
I think it should say cherry picking parts of facts.
that's I think what he wanted to say. Yes.
Minus for $6.66, Hail Sagan says, "It's funny how the dumb flurfs think they are smarter than all the scientists in the world." Do you think you're smarter than every scientist in the world?
No, I'm just aware of God's doing this deception. So no, not in that sense. No, but I'm aware that God is behind the deception of the bowler.
Wow. Mikey Riot for £5 says, "Mog, stop dismissing and learn something, you
Riot.
stubborn fool. Professor Bell killing it while Mog's in the other corner eating crayons and sticking forks in sockets." Fighting words.
Holy shit. Yeah.
Anthony Purcell for $5 Australian. Big shout out, Anthony Purcell. I don't know much about geodesic surveying. I've been trying to learn, and you sent me a massive email explaining a lot of it. And thank you very much. I haven't quite digested it all yet. I'm working through it, but I do like to learn more about my arguments all the time. So I appreciate you taking the time to help with that. And he says for $5 Australian, "Optical images are always going to lead to these pointless isn't exchanges. Use seismic data." Well, Mind of God says that he was a seismic engineer.
Yeah, I did almost a 2-year stint it's called Western Chico, but it's owned by Schlumberger. So I wasn't in the field though, because that's where the real, I would say, geometry comes in. I took the process data, and in the processing, we did not account for earth curves. So I can walk
Well,
through
mate,
that.
you don't need to account for earth curve. The data gives you a sphere when you put it in.
Let's talk about that in the after show if you have me on.
Yeah, cool, absolutely.
Yeah, sure.
Crafty Keeler for €2 says, "Don't forget, click like, subscribe, and join." Thank you very much. Yeah, guys, I do have a members button if you would like to support this channel monthly. It means the world. I couldn't keep doing this without the support you guys give me in super chats and members and Patreon and stuff.
What is
it
that?
Absolutely means the world. So
Stop
thank you very
doing
much.
that.
Then we've got Sleet for $66.74 Australian. Thank you very much. For the Mind of God, please tell me why our observable cosmology, space travel, etc. doesn't agree with your belief in God. Why can't both be true for you? Which part makes these beliefs mutually incompatible? Some astronauts are religious, no problem.
It's just the extreme stuff. I don't disagree with rockets and things that are going on up there and interesting and cool things. It's just the Earth moving and all these things like magically kind of moving. That's the issue. Exploring above the surface of the Earth.
And we're cherry picking again.
Obvious.
Big time.
Artemis Project
Extreme.
for the win. Phil KO for $2 says, "Sovereign celestial pole. Flat Earth debunked in 3 words."
Sure.
What
I don't know that argument. People keep saying it, but I don't understand what that is. Like,
it's the fact that in the southern hemisphere there is a point.
Don't say that. Why not just say a city so we know what you're talking about? Just pick a place.
So
like
all right,
place.
Canberra, Australia.
Sure.
When they look at the sky, they see things rotate around a central point, which rotates
not
the
the
opposite
thing
way
we see
to
at
if
the
you're in the
central
northern
point.
hemisphere, say in London, and all the stars rotate the opposite way around the North Star. So how is it that we can have 2 opposite rotating stars in the sky rotating different points? Yeah. So basically, if you're looking north it rotates counterclockwise. If you're looking south, it rotates clockwise. But if you're in the southern hemisphere, it rotates around a different point in the sky than it does if you're in the northern hemisphere.
And you guys believe that's a proof? Like whoever put
We
that
believe
stat,
it's an
that's enough for
extremely
them?
good evidence because it's what you would expect to see if you're on a sphere.
I'll think about it.
Cool.
I don't like it, but I'll think about it.
I mean, it's one that I've never had an explanation for, apart from Nathan Thompson said, there's lights in the sky. Nathan Thompson's a retard. Crafty Killer for €5 says, Professor Phil Bell wins on grace and consideration in the face of pure ignorance and arrogance. She's throwing shade at you.
Whoa, where was that, dude? I was trying to be friendly today, but okay. I mean, that's a person's opinion. Fair enough. That's not what T-Mog's about. You know, join me for Bible studies. Come by.
Monkey Cat Pat Pat for $2 says, Mog, quit denying, do your own math.
There's not much math in this debate, but sure.
Not in the one you've just had. I can present lots, but Anthony Purcell for 20 Australian says, Mog, do you know how long it takes a seismic wave to travel from one side of Antarctica to the other? They're on opposite sides of the flat Earth, so that should be the last place they arrive, but it isn't.
I have no idea. I'm sure that person has no idea what they're talking about.
No, he really does. He's got a lot of knowledge in this. His point is that when you trace seismic activity, you can see if it's coming from a certain point on the Earth, right? So how is it that you can have seismic waves coming from the south, the Antarctica, yet they don't appear to come from opposite sides of a flat disk? Because on a flat Earth, Antarctica is around the outside. Yet seismic waves
I dismissed
don't
that
show
entire
that.
question as nonsense. Yeah, I just dismissed that as just nonsense. Just a story.
I mean, he's talking about what you actually get from seismic waves.
Sure. I mean, when I talk about seismic, I want people to understand it's a controlled experiment. We're putting the explosive in the ground. We're putting in water. We're developing. We're creating the impulse. We know what it is. We know its signature. That's actually what it's called. And so if you're talking about seismology, that's why I wanted the terminology changed about my description. Earthquakes and all that and how they're measured and I don't know about that stuff at all. So
it's definitely worth learning because there's a lot of questions Flat Earth needs to answer about that.
Sure. I'm sure I could learn it probably faster because I have some experience, but that's not what I'm talking about. That's why I was a seismic engineer and I know about that. So.
All right, Anthony Purcell for another 5 Australian says, Mog, you claim without evidence that the mathematics of refraction does not work.
Yes.
Do you have a mathematical model, a mathematical argument for that?
Well, you guys are essentially saying that those rays travel like straight, like along a flat plane, and that's what I would say. They're not. There is no curving happening.
No, we're not saying they travel along a flat plane. We are saying because of the fact that the Earth is curved, that means that whatever gradient there is will also be curved. So if light is traveling in a straight line, it will, by virtue of the fact that the Earth is curved, go through the gradient of temperature. Which is what causes
effectively
dimming.
flat across that 10 miles, let's say, right? It's from the optic.
Not at all.
But
over 10 miles, you're going to...
Oh,
it looks flat, but over 10 miles, you're going to have 1/6 of a degree, roughly. 1/7 of a degree, because 1 degree is 69 miles, right? So if you're looking over 10 miles, you've got about 1/7 of a degree that the light has to be able to bend for you to be able to see. Okay. And that's not much because standard refraction is about 1 degree, right? So to be able to say that light only has to bend 1/7 of a degree isn't too much of a stretch.
But it has to keep doing it. That's why it's infinite refraction, because at every point along the ray's path, it's constantly changing direction.
Yeah, that's why I always say to flat earthers when they go, oh, well, look at this picture, it proves that you can see too far. Well, my answer to that is always, well, can you tell me what the temperature gradient was that you were looking through? Because I can do the maths roughly to show how far you should be able to see based on what atmospheric conditions you have. And if there is a temperature gradient that you can have a temperature inversion, it's going to drastically alter what the light is doing at that point.
Yeah, I mean that might be a full thing that we can walk through. I don't know if you'd even be interested, but that's...
Rumpus is coming on, so he knows a lot more about refraction than I.
The rumpus. Okay. So yeah.
Requiem for a Dream for $2 says Mog denies refraction whilst wearing eyeglasses.
Oh.
I deny that level of refraction concentric with
Yeah.
Earth curve. That's what I deny in the Black Swan.
Alan H has
That's
become
what
a
it
new
is.
member. Welcome to the Scrappers. You can now use the awesome emoji of Nathan Thompson in jail. Anthony Purcell for $5 Australian says, I have a PhD in geophysics and a master in mathematics. You are flat out wrong about mathematical people rejecting this, you delusional clown. So
Invite that person onto the after show.
Yeah, a PhD in geophysics is...
yeah, I mean, he would understand the seismic that I'm going to talk about.
Yeah, I'll send him an email. David Keller for $5 says, where is the proof the Earth is flat? Can you show us Globies, the killer?
I hope it comes out, at some point. We don't have proof. We have a rejection of the ball Earth model citing infinite refraction, so that gets dismissed in my mind. But do we have proof of flatness everywhere along Earth? No.
Just dismissing without evidence is a bit dishonest.
But I would say both sides don't have proof. But that's my stance. Yeah.
All right. Martinista. I'm sorry, I'm terrible with names. For $2 says, Mog, you're contesting claim, your burden of proof.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, it is. Sure. I mean, I have no issues with the proof being on whoever's side. Well, it's whoever cares.
Here's the thing for me, right? I've been doing this for about 18 months-ish, right? And not once has any flat earther presented evidence that exclusively supports the Earth being flat. Not once, ever. And that to me is a massive problem.
That's the problem for the baller.
Well, no, because I can present mountains of evidence that exclusively support a ball Earth, but there isn't anything. True. No, I can absolutely. There's no problem at all. mctoon.net/r. There you go. Boom, done. But it's a whole page of measurements of the radius of Earth. I mean, it's undeniable, unless you're denying that every single geodesic surveyor in the world knows what they're doing. We have measurements of the curve of the Earth. Yet there is not one measurement of flatness, or we have measurements that the Earth is rotating. How come there is not one single measurement of stillness?
Well, that one's easy because you don't have to measure something that's still.
You do. You get something that can measure motion. You put it on something and you see if it measures it or not. If it measures no motion, then it's still. And we
now
do that.
We're talking.
Any interferometric gyroscope does exactly that.
So why have we seen that? Why not just make something that's moving and then put a device on it and show us that it honors that movement?
I've done that. In fact, Wolfie did that actually. He took a gyroscope out of one of his drones, put it on the globe that he had next to him, and moved the globe to demonstrate that the gyroscope picks up that movement. It's not a hard thing to show.
Okay, so he put it on something that's moving, right?
He put it on
it.
Yeah, he put it on. Let me get it up for you. All right, 2 secs.
And then he literally put it on the Earth, and then it started changing its orientation.
Yeah, well, we know that as soon as you turn on an interferometric gyroscope, it automatically picks up 15-degree drift in 3 axes, right, per hour. That is a fact. We can't deny that. Because the Earth is rotating, that's why it picks that up. Now, let me get the video to just show you. We go over that in the after show, because there is a lot of good evidence to show that the Earth is rotating, and what Wolfie did with that was a particularly good one. But I'll get through these super chats for now. Monkey Cat Pat for $2 says, what the fuck did he just say? Yeah, I had that several times. Anthony Purcell for another 5 Australian says, the mathematics of magnetic and gravitational potential fields are identical, you halfwit. They're both conservative fields and obey Laplace's equations.
They're different. We've already gone over this. They're not the same. We've shown that. They're not the same.
They
have the same equation. Similar structure.
Yeah, but it's all to do with potential
action at a distance.
But the thing about Coulomb's law is that it also needs a distance to the center of the Earth.
But those are real fields that you can actually draw flux like lines. And
if you do the math around it, you can only come to one conclusion, that the Earth is a sphere.
But there's no such thing as a field, gravitational field, in that way. It's not the same.
Well, no, we can absolutely test the gravitational vector at different points on the globe.
the main issue, actually, this is the way to summarize it, is that gravitational field that you guys would construct gets made, and then, it may have the same properties as those other real fields. And so it's already constructed. It's not a naturally occurring field line that's emanating from each mass.
Not natural.
That's why it's very, very different. And I think you guys would agree that it's not the same. Like a mass doesn't have field lines emanating from it.
Hold on, I've got a video that's a good response to that. Hold on one sec.
Retard alert.
Right? Mass does not have gravitational field lines emanating from it. That's not the way it works. You guys went into that last time I was here and talked about some medium or something that accelerates things.
You just said
Luke Skywalker.
what's wrong.
Thanks, Luke. Monkey Cat Pat Pat for $2 says, why would God make someone so dumb? If God is real, then he is an absolute asshole. That's the only thing to say. If God does exist, he is a cunt.
But Craig, why you can't put a super chat like that? And he's asking that to Professor Bell, right? And he's gone now. So
no. He's talking about you, definitely. But here's the thing about God, right? I reject that there's a God. I can never prove either way that if there is a God or not. But I reject the concept of there being a God. If there is a God, then he needs to explain to me why my little sister, one of the nicest people in the world, was the youngest person in Europe to ever be diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. Why did that happen?
We can talk about that.
Like, that fucking breaks my heart. What if God's real? Why the fuck did he do that to my sister?
Those are great questions. I think if more people asked that, then God would not be very mysterious.
Sorry, I get choked up talking about my little sister. Sorry.
No, I'm sorry to hear that.
Christopher Hugan for $2. Sorry, one sec. Christopher Hugan for $2 Australian says, I feel sorry for the professor's wasted time. Yeah, me too. Traveller X for $2 Australian says, FTFE, I feel your pain. You didn't feel what I was feeling there, trust me. Anthony Purcell for 5 Australian says, you are suffering cognitive dissonance, mind of God. Your prattling about superposition is meaningless drivel.
Well, no, superposition is a real thing that is claimed to have been.
Of course, it's a real thing, but you don't understand what it means, not
so
completely at least.
People should look at that. So.
Song 13 for $2 says, for our sins. There's not enough money to get rid of the sins that I've done, trust me. Prime Red for $2 American says, education for the win. Yeah, absolutely. Sleet for $6.67 Australian says, mind of God, what does God think of Spinoza pantheism that Einstein believed in?
Spinoza pantheism.
Yeah.
Like, do you have a summary of what that is?
I've no idea what that is personally myself.
In the universe
I think
as
pantheism is the belief
God.
that like everything is God, right? Like there's an aspect
That sounds
of God.
about right.
Yeah, I think polytheism is what Hindus are, but I don't know, man. So that might be too deep for me. That's above my pay grade. I'll pass.
And we got Martin D for £2 says, you've been a great sport, Professor, thanks. Martin, you did send that super chat twice. If you didn't mean to, let me know and I'll refund that back to you. Red Cosmos Devil for $5 says, you just said flat Earth is a closed system, then proceeded to say, I don't know, the dome might not be fully closed. Make up your mind, bro.
Yeah, that's fair.
Anthony Purcell says, Spinoza was a medieval philosopher.
And I have to clean
so
up
it's
my
pantheism
fucking
as
mousepad.
described by that
Nothing
person.
works like
So-
at all.
There is an element of truth to that in the sense that, if we just follow causality, then everything would have
It's
to
like really
have
weird if your
God's DNA on it
mousepad
in
gets
some way,
skunked
whether
up
it's
real
good or
bad
evil or
after a
indifferent.
while.
So
Your
I do believe there's elements of
mouse
truth
just
even in things
starts,
that are not biblical.
well, basically,
Thomas B for $6.16
it's
with a
extremely
message. Thank you very much. And then Warcoded01 for
precise,
$5
but,
says, right, God totally made the Earth flat that way.
like
It wouldn't
unresponsive.
accidentally roll
Like
behind his couch.
usually, if I move my mouse like
Makes
a
sense.
certain
Yeah, I mean,
amount,
that's
my
actually-
cursor would
Well,
go
God's couch is in the
go
way.
over
No, I'm
here
just
or
messing with you,
whatever.
I'm just messing with you.
And if it's like really
Sleepy
badly
Dan for
gunked
$2
up,
says-
It's in the Bible.
the
Sleepy Dan
mouse
for $2
cursor
says, mind of God, is it
basically
closed
just
or not?
moves
You claim
like
both.
this much. It's like it's really
I'll have
bad.
complete ignorance on that. I don't know because I don't
Drop that shit real good.
Arrow for €5 says, mind of God is like a big flag promoting atheism. Believers should be afraid of becoming in total denial of reality because of religious assumptions.
it's not that big of a stretch to know that the Bible supports it. So you either kind of go with it or not. So that's the nice thing about it. It's a very clear position. So to me, it's
Bible
not
is a
religious.
clear
It's reading it and
position.
then evaluating his claims, which is what I
The
feel I do
biggest
every
lie
day.
ever. He just
Be Nice, Be
lied
Safe
so
for $5.
hard.
American says, here's to teaching our
Oh
children
god,
actual
oh
science.
my god.
Yeah, I know, I've been homeschooling for the past while. Gently's channel, I just jumped, where to go? Gently's channel for £2 says, profound respect for the professor. Yeah, anyone that can stick with education long enough to become a professor gets my respect. End Flat Earth for $10. American says, thanks bro, see you in the after show. Yep guys, the link to after show is in the chat now. Then we got Milton's Morals for $6.66, El Sagan. I agree with the mind of God that the Bible is a flat earth book. One more reason to treat it as the man-made book that it is.
It is man-made in that sense. It's not perfect that people hold it to that level of scrutiny. God has put things in there that He's very aware that people will not, they won't like it. So yeah, it's not perfect in that sense.
I mean, I outright reject the fact, the claim that the Bible is a flat earth book. I don't think the Bible makes any claims about anything like that in the slightest. And every religious person that I've ever known in my life agrees with me. One of my very, very close friends, his father actually ran a Pentecostal church. And I directly asked him these questions, and he was like, no, the Bible doesn't mention the earth being round or flat. It's absolutely stupid to use it as evidence of a flat earth, because that's not what the Bible is supposed to be.
I disagree.
I mean, an actual person in religion disagrees with you, and pretty much all people in actual religion disagree with you.
Right.
So, Better charge for $2 New Zealand says, or she hasn't figured out how to dispose of a body. Brandon Toy for $4.99 says, it was a good debate until Phil turned it into a joke with his slams and arrogance during the last hour. Brandon, you were wrong. Phil was savage and amazing.
Shout out Brandon Toy, man.
I guess he's one of the flat earth morons, right?
He's one of the smart ones, correct.
Thank you for the money, Brandon. I love it when flat earthers chuck money at me, so cheers. Gosh of Heckfire for $5 says, Professor Bill killed the mind of God. Thanks for what you do, FTFE. I love doing it. Philosopher of Nonsense for $2 says, the Bible was never a science or a history book. Fail. That was kind of my point.
No, you can't say, you can say it's not a science book, but it's absolutely a history book, and that's absolutely absurd.
No. Again, I don't think it is.
A history book.
I mean, the Bible literally steals all of its stories from previous religions, so it can't be a history book. And there is no time ever that the sun stopped moving, so it's not a history book.
That's according to the book of Joshua. I'm glad you cited that. That's correct.
Then we got Chris Holland for €5 says, FTFE, fix your damn internet or I will take Mrs. FTFE for a nice seafood dinner and then never call her again. Please get the reference. Yeah, I do. My wife doesn't like seafood. Stringer News 1 for $5 says, no need to account for Earth Curve. It comes at no extra charge.
Well, no one uses it in industry that I've talked to, so that's curious.
I mean, apart from every geodesic surveyor in the world, of course.
I've talked to people who are in oil and gas, seismic, and pilots. That's a pretty good coverage.
Yeah, they don't need to account for Earth Curve because it's already there. So Brian Brockor for $10 says, when did we discover evidence that anything in the Bible is true? I must have missed that. Mind of God is talking like the Bible is an authority. Must be new evidence that demonstrates its validity?
Good question, and it does make a lot of claims that we can talk about in the after show. But yeah, it has to be proven to be true. Absolutely.
Mike 71 for $2 says, how does he think a lunar eclipse work?
He doesn't think.
If the moon is independent, then the person who made the light would need to be asked how it works, and that was not me.
Right, that seemed like a sidestep, but never mind. I've got a few more super chats. Glass Monster for $2 says, please send me a free FTFE shirt to show off. I've actually got new merch coming, so hold your horses. Crafty Keeler for €2 says, we're picking up a 15 degree per hour drift. Thanks, Bob. I mean, Bob, thanks, Bob. I can't say thank you enough, really, because Bob has just made my job so easy.
Yeah,
15
that's
degree
kind
per
of
hour drift.
strange.
Cheers, Bob. Crafty Keela, no, sorry, Tommy Gronville for 20 Nokias. Let me get it up for you. FTFE 2020. Did I say that? Damn. That's going to be clipped. Irish Demon for $2.99 Australian. We love you, brother. I feel that way about my niece. Yeah, it sucks when you got people in your family that hurt. Honestly breaks my heart every time I talk about her. Class Monster for 2 Canadians says, can I get a link to join the after show? Well, we'll see who's in, but come along and we'll get that started soon. The Atheist Brony for $2 says, thanks, Bob. Yeah, definitely. Rampant for 1,000 claps. How can there be 24 hours of sun in Antarctica, mind of God?
Yeah, that's one that I was talking on Jose's, and he kicked me for no reason. I'm kind of wanted to explore that more. So you guys have actual video footage that's reliable that shows the
plenty.
physicality of the sun for 1 second for 24 hours?
Yeah, loads of it.
If you send me that link via email, Craig, I'll actually look at it and we should discuss that.
Cool. Small Time Art for $5 says, don't ever be sorry about getting choked up. You have more of a soul than most theists. Thank you. Crafty Keela for €5 says, shilling myself. Next Challenging Conspiracies featuring Blue Marble Science is on Science and Religion out next week. If you guys aren't subscribed to Crafty Keela, she's this close to having 1,000 subs. So do me a favour and go and give her a sub. Crafty Keela, feel
Craig,
free
guess
to...
who else is close to 1,000 subs?
Everyone unsubscribe from Mind of God instantly. Small Time Art for $2 says, I meant theists. Here's $2 more. I know what you meant. Thank you very much. Cillian Holland for €2 says, who's Chris? Don't know. And the Womble Biter for £2 says, muscular dystrophy charity, the Mind of God relies on CGI. Yeah. And then Anamorphic Mind, the last one for $5 says, how does the Mind of God feel knowing creationists like Kent Hovind think flat earthers are morons?
I'm in the position that Kent Hovind absolutely knows that it's flat. He's just... he's
oh, God, no. No.
Yeah.
No, I've spoken to Kent, and he thinks flat earthers are morons.
Wait, you've communicated with him? Like,
several times, yeah.
Oh, okay. So...
And he outright says that flat earthers are the dumbest people that there are. Like,
Why don't you get him on the show?
He won't come on my show because he doesn't think I know enough about evolution to debate me.
Oh, okay. So he doesn't want to talk about the flat Earth, though.
No, well, because he thinks it's completely ridiculous. Like,
but you two guys could have a good show, just ragging on the.
I was talking to him about
Earth.
Nathan Thompson and the fact that Nathan Thompson stole his bit, and he was like, "I don't want that idiot using my bit." So
I wouldn't mind calling Ken Hovind a sellout right in his
bullshit.
face if you could ever have me on when he's on.
well, no, it's
That's fine.
inmate number 674284, I think. But anyway, guys, that has been an amazing stream. Thank you very much for the super chats. Now, let me just show you what I've got there. So this stream says that I've made £305 in super chats. Right, I'm going to give a third of that to charity.
Whoa, I
Right.
like it.
So I'm going to give a third of the chat revenue from this stream to a education charity that will be chosen by my patrons and members. Thank you everyone for the support. It means the world. I couldn't keep doing this without you supporting me. If you can't support me financially, I don't care. Just share the stuff on all the social medias. The fact that you will come and watch my channel and support me just by being here, it blows my mind and it helps my channel grow. So I know not everyone can support me financially, but just being here, smashing the like button, sharing it means the world. So thanks to your amazing generosity, I'm going to give a good portion of today's super chats to an education charity. Mind of God, any final thoughts before we move on?
Well, I just think it's curious you picked 1/3. Is that because of the masonry, the 33%?
Exactly that, 100%.
No, thanks for having me on, man.
No
Take
worries.
care.
We'll be over on my channel real soon with a after show, and I'll get invites out to that real soon. Thank you, everyone.
I'm just gonna.
I'll send you a link to that. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Thank you, Professor Bell. Thank you, the Mind of God. And remember, stupidity is not a right. Fight the flat earth. Fight the flat. Fight the flat. Fight the flat. Fight.
Amazing timing.
Fight the flat. Fight the flat. Fight the flat.
Okay.
Fight the flat.
Short break.
Fight the flat. Fight the
Short break.
flat.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to clean my mouse pad.